So, everyone, welcome back to the Equitable Wellness podcast. If you are watching along on Substack or YouTube, you can find the full episode notes online on Substack at Equitable Wellness. Subscribe to support this work, join the community, and have new episodes drop right into your inbox. If you prefer to read, as I do here with my little notes, a full transcript will be available on my website blog at shaynagraho.com, link in the notes. And for those listening along on other podcast players, welcome as well. If this is your first time listening in, this podcast highlights passion topics about equitable practices in the health and wellness space. For instance, we look at how spas, retreat centers, holistic practitioners, and luxury services incorporate collective liberation. This podcast is perfect for business owners, service providers, coaches, personal brands, and artists who are passionate about the connection to equity in holistic health and healing arts. So, today, we have a very special guest who is with me. Ishani, would you like to say hello?
Hello everyone.
Yes. This special guest is a coach, and I will introduce her. First, I will introduce myself. I am your host, Shayna Graho. I bring to the table a background as a licensed massage therapist, yoga instructor, and former journalist turned marketer and copywriter. And working recently with a coach has helped me see that I would like to go into coaching someday myself, and I will let that unfold as it comes. Okay, let me introduce our wonderful guest here, Ishani Tewari. Ishani, who is here with me, describes herself as a global citizen, though physically rooted in India. Her worldview has been shaped by the books, movies, art, and diverse people who have touched her life. She is a determined coach on a mission to help people quit people-pleasing and take charge of their lives. Her coaching journey began as a personal reflection to understand and heal her own people-pleasing tendencies that led to serious health challenges, including asthma, cervical spondylitis, debilitating migraines, and severe anxiety. At the heart of Ishani's approach is a simple truth. Love comes first. She firmly believes in everyone's capacity to create an unstoppable life on their own terms. Through her coaching and content, she works daily toward her vision of a world led by empathetic, authentic leaders who, turn the page, authentic leaders who value genuine human connection above all. Not just dreaming of this future, she is actively building on it one transformed client at a time. All right, so Ishani, tell us if there's anything to add or where you are calling in from today.
Thank you. I think that describes most of what I do, who I am. I'm calling in from India, so it does not mention that I'm Indian. So that is again a big part of my identity. Apart from that, I am very passionate about equity, and that's why I'm even having this conversation today with you. I'm deeply passionate about arts. I love dancing. I love music. And I'm just also trying to understand who I am as an artist because I do write and I do paint. So I'm trying to figure that out right now. But like Shayna said, I am a coach. In when it comes to my work, I have always been a coach in some way or some way or the other in my life. So growing up, I used to teach or coach my friends about studies as well as their life. So I used to tell them, okay, this is how you should look at relationship, or if there was anything that they were struggling with, they would come to me. So I was that kind of a friend who would always support. And ultimately, I realized that, okay, this is something if I can do for others, I can do for myself. That is how my journey began with coaching. And now I helped more than 50 women across the globe in overcoming their people pleasing tendencies. So I'm super excited and honored to be part of this conversation, and I look forward to what we have in store.
Well, thank you so much for being here and for agreeing to come to this podcast. It does bring together practitioners in their different journeys of practicing equity, practicing liberation. It means a lot of things to a lot of people. And your voice definitely matters in the conversation and as well as the clients who you've helped to shape. Why don't we start with your personal journey? You've shared powerfully about your health challenges and how healing wasn't just physical, but deeply emotional and energetic, spiritual, many other levels. What was that turning point for you?
Hmm. So thank you for that question. I The turning point, there were actually two turning points in my journey. Number one was when I chose to move away from my house. It was back in 2021. I had done my postgrad diploma, postgrad study in liberal arts. And I remember very, very specifically, vividly about my graduation day, and I couldn't go there. It was also COVID. So 2021 was when I graduated. So there was this ceremony that was supposed to be held, and we would have been given our degrees and all of that. And I was in hospital. So that is thankfully the last time I was hospitalized. Trigger warning, I was suicidal. And even though I was hospitalized for my asthma attacks and all of that, but the thing that was going on in my head is I can't live like this. Like, this is just like, how can somebody live in pain every single day? Then, when I say my journey was emotional, spiritual, it was because in 2021 of I think October or November, I was standing just right outside because now I'm back at home. So I was standing right outside and I was like, should I just jump? Like, should I just jump? And I know that it wouldn't cause anything because it's just the first floor. Yet the need to just end everything was super strong because I had lived my life of 20 to 23 years just feeling like a burden, just feeling like there's no point of my life. There's no point. And I don't know, I mean, I've not spoken about this, and I don't know if, I mean, a lot of people in my life know about this, but this was the awakening moment for me. This was the spiritual turning point where this noise came like, you should live, like, you don't deserve to die. And then I started reading about all these books and self-development, spirituality, all of that. And in January 2021, I wrote a letter to the universe, not knowing how and what will happen, to just move away from this house because I knew that something needs to change and I can only change myself when I take this bold step. So that was the first turning point. The second turning point came when I was in Bangalore, which is where I moved to, not knowing anybody. I didn't know the culture. I went to this breathwork workshop and I'd done everything, a lot of things. I was into doing yoga every single day, yogic breathing, asanas, pranayama, everything. But then when I went to this breathwork session, it is called the holotropic breathwork. It's basically you taking inhale and exhales in a continuous manner. And we did that for like 2-3 hours. It was facilitated. And I think that was also my first um, interaction with somebody holding a safe space for me to go deeper into my emotional journey. And when I did that, I saw myself uh, curled up as a fetus, although I was an adult when I saw myself. And there was this black, the entire world is black. There's just one window. And that just released a lot of things for me. I don't know where it came from. I also saw and heard faint voices of my parents, and I knew that there is something. I didn't know till then, because till then I used to think this is only happening because I've been sick physically. But when that happened, I knew that there is something deeper. There is something emotionally that is going on that I need to heal. And then thus started my journey to figure out what is it. To start, I started journaling after that. That was the first moment I started journaling about, okay, this is what I saw, this is what I felt. With breathwork, you don't go deeper into, okay, where is this coming from? It is not like talk therapy, it is just a release through breath. So I couldn't figure that out, but slowly, I worked on it. And there was the third turning point, which was with my coach when I did an inner child healing. And it was then that I realized that this was all coming from people pleasing. Because I had lived my life to please my mother in specific, and I mean, my parents, the culture that I come from, but specifically my mother. And on that day, I released this need. And since then, I don't get like a lot of breath issues, because I literally felt the burden of people pleasing removed from my body. And yeah, so this has been that journey. And I know that if you are somebody who has chronic health issues, or I mean, we can discuss more about it. But if you have some sort of chronic health issues, I'm not saying it's coming from people pleasing, but it is all definitely coming from an emotional wound. So I invite you to actually look at it and try to understand what is underneath that is going on. It is going to help you so much. I went on and on, but just wanted to cover. Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm happy that you shared 3 pivotal turning points, and also the many modalities that you experience to really feel a shift, right? Breath work, as well as coaching, working with the inner child, and something very multimodality. I don't know how else to express it, but energetic, something that involves not just the body, not just the mind, but the connection of those two, or of more, right? The connection of the totality of your being. So profound. I feel that it's a very challenging and beautiful statement to say. If there's some chronic health issue going on, look at your emotions. Look at the patterns of the emotions. Okay, so you came to recognize that it was people pleasing that kept you stuck, and it's beautiful that you took that direction into your own coaching practice. And you talked about the different steps that you took to shift that. How did you start to shift that? Once you made this connection, it's people pleasing. What were your steps for yourself that you took at the beginning?
So, like I said, the first moment when I realized that it is coming from people pleasing, because I was holding on to a lot of resentment for my mother. So after that, I started coming and connecting to my inner child, which is something that has helped me a lot in my journey of overcoming people pleasing. Because the resentment that I had was so deep that I started to hate people, because the first connection that you have with people is through your parents. Parents, caregivers, primary caregivers, whoever you grew up with in your childhood. So, I mean, I also see that if you are, I mean, the spiritual connection is also through parents, right? So, if you are somebody who had a troubled childhood, who had any sort of emotional wounding as a kid, whose needs were not met, if you were not allowed to be a certain way, this is going to help. This is going to move you away from people. You're going to resent people. And that is what my biggest step was, for me to finally start connecting to people. Till then, because of this resentment that I was holding against my mother, even though I had friends, even though I was the friend for so many, everybody used to call me their best friend, but I didn't think that anybody could be my best friend, because I didn't think people have the capacity to understand me. So from that moment, what I did was I allowed people into my life. I allowed people, instead of assuming that nobody is going to understand me. I allowed people to be there for me. And then I judged, of course, that, okay, this person can understand me, not understand me, I vibe with them, all of that. And once you start doing that, you are going to attract people who really, really understand. So, this is what I tell my coach clients also, that people pleasing, you can heal people pleasing through people. People trigger you, but people have the capacity and capability to really heal you, help you in your healing journey. And so, yeah, the biggest thing that I did was to let people in to the, and I started with the people that I already had. So, for example, I consider my sister my mother, because she is somebody who's full of love. She just have like an ocean of love. So I first time allowed her, like I spoke to her, I spoke about my needs and my wants, and this is what I felt. Until then I had never done this. So yeah, so this is how I started, by allowing the people who are already part of my life into my life, instead of assuming that they don't have the capacity.
I love this notion, right? That triggered by people and healed through people,
Feel
right?
but yeah.
I do love this. So tell me, now that you've learned some of these techniques for yourself, or mindset shifts to leave the realm of people pleasing, that you're guiding other people, what are some of the most common signs that someone is stuck in a people pleasing pattern? Would you like to tell us about that and how you recognize that in the people you work with?
Of course. So number one sign, like I said, if you have any chronic disease, so it's like you wake up every day with some sort of a pain. It could be because of some version, some intensity of people pleasing, because you're not living the life that you really want. That is number one. So something like asthma, something like cervical spondylitis, something like a foot pain, pain in the feet, it is a short sign there are some emotional wounds that are leading from people pleasing, because all of these lifestyle diseases, all of these diseases are an uneasiness in your being. Disease is what? Disease is the not having ease in your life force energy, right? And it gets disrupted because of you being not who you truly are. So that is one short sign. If you have something like an asthma, cervical spondylitis, pain in your body, any gut pain, that is also a very big sign. The second sign is if the lack of confidence. Now, some people can fake it also, but if you internally are always questioning, is this right for me? What will my mother say? What will my father say? What will society say? What will all of those things? So this is again second big factor. So every time you're taking decisions, you're hesitating. Is this right? Is this? I mean, what I should truly do? All of those questions. Then definitely it's a sign of people pleasing. And these are like very visible signs. The like very subtle signs are, you're always restless, so you want something to do or something, I mean, you want uh, you're figuring out always, what should I do and who should I be. Okay, you are adapting yourself to different kind of situations. You're always reading the room and thinking like, okay, this is how I should talk to this person. You are always changing your values and your views and your opinions based on how you're talking to the other person. And these are very subtle, you don't even realize it until until you work with somebody, until somebody holds a mirror and be like, you know what, this is not who you are. You are a loving person, but this is not who you are being. If you hold a lot of resentment for people, so you have this worldview that people suck, that everybody is bad, everybody is out there to get you. So that is again something that requires your attention to heal people pleasing patterns. Perfectionism is also a big part of people pleasing, because you're always thinking about, oh, I need to be perfect, because it's somewhere coming from, I need to be perfect in order to be loved. And if I'm not perfect, then I'll not be loved. So this is again some sign of people pleasing. Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you. I'm going to move on to the next question. Although I know from working with you this past week, to get more acquainted with your work, I did a challenge, which is the inspiration for the title of kind of the episode about becoming the unstoppable self. We worked for, at the very least, 4 days. I missed day 5, but I will watch the replay, um, to journey into becoming the unstoppable self. And your training does go through 4 main archetypes, um, of people pleasers, but I will continue instead of talking about each archetype. I think you gave a very good summary of some overall characteristics in common. So let's move to your term of self-leadership. What does that mean to you, and why is it foundational in your work?
So this is something that actually I had not thought of. So thank you for that question, because self-leadership, I always say self-leadership, but I sat down and I thought about it. I said, okay, Shani, what does self-leadership mean to you? So self-leadership means leading myself from within. So it is me coming back to my body, my mind, my soul, so that there is a congruence between my actions, my words, which is basically my thoughts, and my energy. So I feel if I have to lead myself, I have to know myself, because it is by knowing myself in all my glory and all my gloom that I can lead my life, that I can be authentic in that moment. What I mean by that is, if I am feeling emotionally charged, I am going to feel it. And I'm not going to let, because society has told me that, women are always crying, so you shouldn't cry, or men can't cry, so you shouldn't cry. So, all these emotions, if I'm feeling an emotional charge and I feel my tears are going to come up, I'm going to let it. If I feel I have to be aggressive in order to deal with the situation, when I say aggressive, meaning I can increase the voice, I can, sometimes I'm aggressive with my thoughts, so I shout inside my pillow, all of those things. So I can be aggressive, I can be gentle, I can be soft, I can be tough. Whoever I feel I need to be in this moment, that is coming from within, which we shut down all the time by thinking, okay, no, I can't be like this, I can't be like this. That is what self leadership to me is. It is me leading myself in my truest, authentic way, not letting what others tell me I should be, but being who I am and owning my power. And I feel like it's the first step towards the equitable world, right? Because if I am myself, if I truly, truly know myself, I won't be offended by other people, how they define me. I would know my power. I would know that this is my context, this is my background, and I'm not going to compare myself with somebody on Instagram and be like, you know what, she is earning so much and I'm coming from the same context. But all of those things that we do, right? What is equity? It's actually understanding that this is where I'm coming from, this is my way of, my form of success. And then and if I'm able to come to this level, it is because of my all of this, I mean, all of my background, and this is what the world has provided me, then I can take it forward. So I think this is a big, yeah, so this is self leadership for me, because I feel like you can't be a leader if you are always letting what others think define you. You need to first understand yourself, first have to self lead, and then you can lead others as well. Yeah.
Just love how grounding your words feel, right? Um, to come in this place of, I am self-assured, you know, I am self-validated. I know where I stand my ground. It's very grounding and beautiful, embodied, and wonderful. Um, we'll move on.
Yeah.
You work a lot with the mind-body-spirit connection, which includes physical practice. For instance, you start your sessions with centering, paying attention to the breath, maybe taking a few deep breaths, and setting an intention. I almost thought before starting the podcast that you should lead us being present in physical space. But then, whatever, I just continue it as the podcast host mode. But you help clients become present in your sessions, right? Like you did in this 5-day challenge of becoming unstoppable. Um, you use various forms of breath work as well, even in your introductory work, including breath work to release negative beliefs and pain held in the body. So please tell us more about your choice to incorporate this centering and connection.
Yeah, so like we started with, I have gone through a lot of different experiences, different modalities myself. Okay, so I did a lot of breath work, I did a lot of yogasanas and yoga pranayams, and I did do the coaching thing as well. I've taken medications as well. I have not gone to therapy. That's the only thing that I've not done. But my coach was somebody who had been a therapist, and then she became a coach. So I have gone through. I have gone to and done all those things. I've done inner child healing. I've done journaling. So what I realized is there is a beauty in all of these modalities, right? Depending on my need in that moment, in that phase of my life, something will work for me. But it's not like everything will work for me. Our brains are very different. Our again, the body, right? So our body is holding to all sorts of memories. So sometimes I'm in touch with my body, sometimes I'm not. So this presence and the centering comes from me coming back to my body, because my body holds all the wisdom of my truth, of my traumas, of my wounds, and all my happiness as well, of all my joy. But my mind is always lying. Okay, so it is based on all the lies or all the stories that I feed. So it can be a lie or it can be a truth, but it is based on that. When I connect the two, I have this congruence in my being. And that is why I have mind as well as body together whenever I'm doing any kind of work. It is coming from two things. A, that I have done this work, and in some part of my life, coaching worked, in some phase of my life, breathwork worked, in some phase of life, journaling works. The second is everybody is unique. So for Shayna, maybe breathwork works more than meditation. So I want to provide that space where you can identify what works for you. And I am somebody who loves learning. I'm curious by nature. All of these things I've tried, and I realized that I can give that to you as a buffet. You can pick and choose what works for you, and probably everything works for you. Maybe you need to be in a certain phase in your life. So I'm going to provide all of that. You have the power to choose what works for you from your toolkit, from this buffet that I have showcased in front of you, and then you pick and choose and do that thing that works for you, because the power is within you. Like, the healing power is within you. All these tools are here to guide you. So that is what I do. And it all starts with intention. And that is why everything I do starts with intention, like setting an intention for this. This is not just something that I like to do. It is actually very rooted in how our mind works and how our body works. So with our body, with centering exercises, we are coming back to our body, which holds the wisdom. And it is also actually telling my mind, my reticular activating system, which is always looking for clues. It is a filtering system. So it is telling my RAS that, this is what I want to focus on. This is what I want to focus on in this entire 1 hour of discussion, or 2 hours or the entire day. So it is going to focus on all those things. So yeah, that is why I have this broad buffet of things that I do, because it has worked for me, and I know that everybody is unique, everybody's journey is unique. So you choose whatever works for you.
Cool. Among the things that work that you incorporate that I do love are you also bring emotional freedom techniques EFT using the acupressure points of Chinese medicine and chakra balancing as well from the yogic system. So are there, I guess, like are there other modalities you work with, and what leads you to use, I guess, the buffet, as you say, as the next
Yeah, of
question?
course. Yeah, of course. I work with a lot of these things, right? So breathwork is different from pranayama. Pranayama is coming from again yoga sutras. So I use pranayama techniques depending on how comfortable are you. For example, there are people who don't like to do om chanting because they think that it's religious, and I understand that. I don't want to force anything on you, right? So I won't do om chanting with them. So I would probably do like EFT with them. So all of these things that are coming from what works for you, what you align with, because you have to trust in those techniques more than me, right? I can only provide you. So I do EFT, I do chakra meditation, not therapy, but I use chakras to help you again come back to your body, which is the source, unlock the various unlock your genius basically. And other things that I use is there's this technique, Hawaiian technique called Ho'oponopono. So I use that as well. It's a very, very profound release. I feel it has helped me unlock again my genius, my connection to the divine. And it also helps me connect beautifully to the entire world, because this technique is based on the fact that all of us are one. And if there is my bias, I mean, if there is somebody who I feel pity towards or sympathy towards or happiness towards, it's actually coming from what I feel about myself. So, coming back to yourself, doing this prayer, doing this exercise helps you again feel that connection. It's a very spiritual way of doing, of being actually. So, this is the third thing that I use. I definitely use coaching, which is based the usual NLP. Um, what else do I use? I do use mindfulness, which is a broad spectrum. So I'm certified in mindfulness as well. I'm certified in life coaching, happiness coaching. I'm also going through psychology. So I'm taking my master's in psychology now. So I'm reading more about that. Yeah, so I keep learning, and this is what I use in. Yeah. But I feel, if I have to say coaching, these are all the tools, right? For me, how I define coaching, and probably you'll also agree. I'm not sure, but let me know. Coaching is just me being present with my energy and you sitting, coming here, and we are having a conversation in a non judgmental way, non restrictive way. So, whatever comes up collectively. So, it can be emotions for some people, it can be wounds for some people, it can be just this beautiful creative genius for some people. Whatever comes up, we together collectively work on it, and then um, you can go ahead and implement that thing in your life. That's it. I feel coaching is that me holding a space for you to realize your own genius.
I still really just love kind of thinking of this image of through all of these techniques and through the work, like the people pleasing leaving or like slowly releasing from the body, like almost being like kind of purged, right? And I'm guessing like the relief and the freedom that comes from that, which will incorporate, right, these mind body practices. I think yes, it's a beautiful path that you help lead folks to. So tell us now about with your experience serving clients from all over the world, many different cultural contexts, what would you say that different expectations among marginalized communities, if you will, how does that reinforce people pleasing? And I mean, I think that this is a big part of how you help shift people pleasing. Um, but tell me, like, about in terms of just again the connection to equity in holistic health. what are your thoughts about working with people in very different cultural contexts to physically, emotionally, spiritually, energetically let go of people pleasing?
I love that question so much because again, this is the base of my work, right? I want to really help create this equitable work, this which comes from us being authentic with who we are by building the next generation of authentic leaders who are rooted in their being. Because if I love myself, I can send it to the other person also. I can relate to their hurt and to their journeys, and then I can provide that love. So, yeah. Now, coming back to marginalized communities, so I would like to just give that disclaimer that I do not come from marginalized community, at least in India. I am a Hindu, I'm a Brahmin. So all my life I have lived in a very protective environment. Although through my books, my readings, my integration with the society, with everybody coming from all walks of life, through my work, through my studies, education, I do I do understand a bit, but yeah, I just wanted to give that disclaimer that if I consider myself in India, I'm a very privileged person. I'm coming from a privileged community. Okay, so I cannot speak to the struggles of, let's say, somebody who's grown up in a Dalit community in India. Just it can be with a Dalit woman, but her experience and my experience will be completely different. That being said, I can speak to the experience of women because I'm a woman and there is a lot of marginalization in my country, in my society when it comes to women. And then you said about clients, and I can clearly see that patriarchy is so deep rooted in every culture. It shows up in different forms, yet it is so deep rooted. So I've worked with a Catholic woman from USA. I have worked with a Muslim woman from Pakistan. I have worked with a Muslim woman from India. I have worked with, again, Christian from USA. So all of these people are coming from a different background. So there was somebody from, again, Christian from Suriname. So all these people, all these women, the bottom or the base of their existence has always been that you need to be a certain way. Okay, you need to be a certain way in order to be loved, liked, and appreciated. So, depending on my context, if I talk about that, it looks like you have to have certain grades, you have to have a modest clothing, attire, you have to respect your elders no matter what. They can be as brutal as they can, but you still have to respect your elders. And yeah, so this is my context, right? You have to be this way. Similarly, for other women, I have realized that they're again coming from, yes, this feeling that their emotions, their needs, their existence is dependent on how others see them. So instead of their power, their power is actually spread across how others look at them. So it is always an outward approach that they have to have about their being. So if somebody is appreciating me, then I am valid, that my existence is valid. If somebody is saying that, you know what, you take such good care of me, then my existence is valid. So all of these notions are, again, the intensity might differ, but it is all that your existence is dependent on others, which is the baseline of people pleasing for any community that you, I mean, at least for the women that I have worked with.
Yeah. Okay. I think you've answered, I think, the next question I was going to ask, which is about the good girl identity and how you have personally worked to overcome that. And again, many people from many different contexts will maybe have other people-pleasing identities that they would associate with. Now, let's talk about, I guess, the so-called flip side of what does looking unstoppable look like actually when you use that word? And what are the internal shifts that begin to take place? I think you probably have spoken to that already. But tell me about being unstoppable.
Wow. Okay. Just saying this word unstoppable raises my vibration. So raises my frequency, raises my energy.
This is mine too. I love it.
Yeah. So like being unstoppable means to me very simply that I am going to own my power. So owning your power is being unstoppable. Now again with definitions, labels, identities, it is going to be very personalized to you. So being unstoppable could mean that you don't want to live in a city. You're like, I don't care about this, so I'm going to go live in the countryside in my hut and have my cat. That is being unstoppable. Like, I don't care what others think, how I live. So this is me being unstoppable. For somebody, it can be all my life I've seen my mother scrubbing floors, and I don't want to do that. My being unstoppable is having a corporate job, right? So that I can really help her retire, and I help her live the life that she's been desiring for so long. For somebody like me, my definition of being unstoppable is helping others be unstoppable. Right? So my definition is I am so rooted in my authenticity. I am so rooted in my being that if you have a problem with me, I know that it is coming from some wound that you have. I'm going to reflect for sure, but I'm not going to make it my reality. I'm not going to make it my truth. Just because you think I'm stubborn, or just because you think I'm offensive, I'm going to reflect on it, but I'm going to not let it shake me, right? So that is being unstoppable. Be so rooted in your power that all these things don't really shake your entire value system, which is what happens when you're not unstoppable. When you're not unstoppable, what is happening is Shayna says, Ishani, I don't like you. You go and think about it for so long, and you're like, you know what? I think I also don't like myself. That is not being unstoppable, right? So I accept what you're saying, but I'm going to stand in my truth, stand in my power. Now the identity shifts that you need to have, or you can think about, is, so let me define power first, because this will help you understand what are these identity shifts that we need to have. So power is what you have. And people define there is power struggle everywhere and everything, but I define power is the ability to do something. Pa- so my ability to do something is very different from your ability to do something, right? So that is my power. That this is how I do it. This is how I do it. This is how you do it. So power has different ways, and power is what you have. It is not something that you extend on others, because that is force. I mean, at least that is how I define power. Force is what you extend over others, right? So I'm a parent and you are a kid. So this is my force. I'm going to, what I say goes. The power is I'm a parent looking at everybody in a holistic, equitable manner, that you also have rights, I also have rights. This is what I do. This is what you do. Now, my ability to do something, which is my power, is always guided by either my fears or my truths. Okay, so fears are, we think fears are truths, but they are not. There is a difference. So fear is, I'm not good enough, I'm not safe, I don't deserve this, I don't deserve appreciation, I don't deserve praise, I don't deserve love. So these are the fears that a typical pleaser might have. So the identity shifts that are required in order to own your power, which is basically becoming unstoppable, is these feelings that I am unstoppable because I deserve to be unstoppable. I am safe, because it's very important that you feel safe in your identity in order to truly say, this is who I am. You don't feel threatened by anybody. So I am safe and I am enough. This feeling that I am enough, even if I have $1 million in my account, or even if I have $10 in my account, I am enough, because my being is not because of the money or all these notions that if you are married then you're enough, or if you're married then only, so all these notions. I don't care. I'm just enough because I am. There's no justification required. So these are the identity shifts that are required. So three things: I'm enough, I'm safe, and I deserve to be unstoppable.
I'm safe and I deserve to be unstoppable.
And the third one, yes, fourth one, which is I'm loved. I'm loved. So for some people, it can actually come from people. But if you're in the beginning, it might come from the universe, your God. That is why there are so many studies done that people who are spiritual or people who are religious also don't. If you don't give away power to universe, which is there is a fear based faith also, right? But I believe in pure love, and I believe that my creator is full of love, and that is why I extend love. So if that is the case, then I feel loved. I don't care if my mother says I love you or not, because I know I'm loved by my creator, by my consciousness, by yes. So this is what the fourth one is. I'm loved because all of us has this, which is something that we didn't get before when we were growing up, which led us to become people pleasers. This feeling of safety, feeling of enough, and feeling of being loved, and feeling of deserving. Yeah.
Oh, so beautiful. I feel that when you work with your clients on power, it helps shift power, it helps redistribute power, which is part of equity in my estimation. And that assuredly, this really does help to shift um, power in the lives of your clients in the world, in different ideals, right? And anyway, I guess, want to wrap up now. A couple questions in closing. On that final note, thinking about shifting power and the power that everyone listening on the call already has, what would you tell the audience here today about the power that they already have? If they were to know one thing today, what would that be?
Oh wow, I love this. So when I think about this, there's something that happens in my heart. Okay? So that is what I would invite you to do. Maybe we can try it together and figure out the
Yeah,
answer. Okay.
yeah.
So let's just close our eyes. That's what I do also always, because when you close your eyes, you're shutting yourself away from all the disturbance, all the chaos and all the noise that is outside of you, which is not what you need. So just being here in this moment, if you place a hand on your heart and the other hand on your tongue, and you trace your breath as you go in and out. So breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. In through the nose again and out through the mouth. I wanted to ask one question to yourself, which is, what brings me joy? What brings me joy? Because joy is power. So let whatever comes up come up. You can open your eyes. So what comes for me, you can tell me what is coming up for you. When I say what my power is, it comes up as creation. So I just instantly connected with my childhood or with the self of mine who loves creation. It can be anything. It can be creation of a poem, or it can be creation of an art design. It can be anything creative. It can be cooking. Cooking is super creative. So for me, my power is creation because it gives me joy. Power is something that you do. Your ability to do something is power, and it is directly related to your joy. Because the more joyous you are, the more joyous you uh, will show up in the world as, and it will the joy will extend from you to the outside world. So the power, how you can start identifying is basically by really leaning into your body, asking yourself what gives you joy. Because when you were a kid, that was your power, your creative aspect. It can be something else for you. So let me know your answer. But I'm just sharing from what I felt right in this moment. And I didn't realize it, okay? So I thank you for holding this space for me where I can come back and ask these questions to myself also. Because even though I knew I loved creating, today, right here, doing this work, I realized that my power is actually creation because I really, really, really enjoy it. So my ability to do something is just creating, and the more I create, the more powerful I feel, the more it gives me joy.
Love that. Thank you.
What is
All
your
right.
power?
Oh, gosh. I'm gonna resonate with the joy. I saw something very like bright.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, it might be classic, but eh, like the sun, right? Or just, I don't want to, again, I'll keep your answer the way it is, right? Not going to steal it in terms of just creation, creativity, but energy, right? This sense of kind of, I saw many things, but that also, I think, is attached to, yeah, life, vitality. And I
Yeah.
love that you say leaning into the body because I feel that, yes, everything comes through the body at some point or another. And it's always been a big part of my work to understand the conduit of, the exquisite power the body holds. All right. So we'll come back to your creativity. Um,
We have gone through these moments of laughter, and every time you laughed, something happened in my being. Like I really laughed from, and maybe I just felt a lot of joy, which is very, very important for me to feel in order to feel safe. And when you said right, I feel that your power lies in making people feel bright in their being. I don't know if you'd agree to it or not, but this is what I feel when I'm in your vicinity, even though it's a virtual room. But just being with your energy, I feel bright in my being, and I feel like that is. I don't want to define it for you, but I feel like when somebody asks me who is Shayna, I feel this is how I'll define Shayna. Yeah, just
well,
wanted to
thank
share
you.
it.
I mean, I feel like there really are kind of like yoga words or Sanskrit words I could use that are maybe better at describing it because it's like I felt more of like an image, right, than like a image with feeling. But some of the words could be virya or prana, like that like expansive sense of this just energy, for lack of better words, or life force, or I mean, but more of that like yeah, like the energetic quality of life.
Being, yeah,
Like life is energy, which is why I brought up the sun. But yeah, like the visual sense, like I think for me have always related to like the sun or bright places or places that are very brightened by the sun. I mean, whether
yeah,
it's
I get
here
that.
in the South of Spain or beaches or just like some very yeah, sunny places. I've always been drawn to sunny places. Even after
Yeah,
living in upstate New York for many, many, many years that were not as bright, right? But yeah, there is like that.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. And even this podcast is basically about that, right? Shining light on the issues and issues of the equitable practices of the wellness industry. So this is your mission as well. See, even this my painting that is in the back also has a lot of these colors because I'm also attracted, and I think that is why we are collaborating on this as well, because I feel like I'm only attracting people who I vibe with, relate with, right? And when you say beaches, when you say sun, I totally resonate with it because I am somebody who's always looking for sun. There was the saying in my when I was in a corporate job, every winter I would just take my laptop and I don't care about whoever, wherever anybody's sitting. I would just go to the terrace of my office and I'll work there. So if anybody would want to ask about me, where is Ishani, they would just say she's searching for the sun. So wherever the sun is, you just go and find her.
Ishani has published 2 books on poetry, and in the spirit of National Poetry Month in the United States, April, also just because Ishani is a poet, among many things, I'm inviting her to take the stage with a poem, to share a poem that she wrote last year. Would you like to share the poem and tell us about the poem?
Yes, thank you so much. I've only published one book, but my poetry has been published in 2 books. So I just wanted to clarify that. That's okay. I love poetry, and thank you for giving this space to come as my authentic self and where lies the artist also. So thank you. And the poem is called Healing, and what I feel is healing. Okay, so here is how it goes. In the bold summer night, as I look at the moon one last time before I move to my bed, to lie awake throughout the night once again, you come and whisper, "Hello, old friend." Cautious I've been to keep you a secret from everybody. From myself, I guess. I thought I let you go, but now facing me once again, you stand and shout, "Die, you bitch." To think I let you go, to only find you grasping me tighter, choking me till I die? Scratch that. Breathe again. One deep breath I take. Long one. Inhale for 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I see you fade again. I see you fade away once again. You can't kill somebody who is already dead. I am a new me. You might come back, but I'm ready to send you away quicker and easier next time. This, to me, is healing.
Ooh. Thank you for sharing. Yes, we will share this poem in the print on the website, wherever you are going to read this. So thank you, Ishani, for sharing this with us, sharing and gracing us with your exquisite poetry. And yes, the importance of creation and artistic expression for standing in your power, for expressing the authentic, unstoppable self. It is so appreciated.
Thank you so
Then the
much.
last
Thank you for.
question. Um, for all of the listeners and readers who have been along on this chat, if Ishani's story resonated with you, which I know for me it definitely does, and you're ready to become your own unstoppable self, I highly recommend connecting with Ishani, and I will say a few of the ways you can do so if you choose. You may join her self-leadership school on Facebook, where she hosts free weekly trainings on how to be the leader of your life. And she holds challenges such as the one that I have taken also about becoming the unstoppable self. You may follow her on Facebook and Instagram, and also download 2 amazing free resources. One is Break Free from People Pleasing in 7 Steps, and also the Say No Playbook, How to Set Boundaries Without Feeling Like a Monster. All right, all of the links are in the show notes, and I promise you will love every bit of the insights. So, on that note, would you like to share anything else coming up that you're excited about?
Yeah, so there's just a lot of emotions coming up, first of all. So I just really, really, really want to thank you. I'm super grateful. This is my first podcast ever, and I just wanted to come and say my thank you. You are amazing for the work that you do. So I'm really, really happy to see somebody who really cares about the world and the equity in the world. So first of all, that. Second, yes, I am super excited. I'm actually working with my coach on building something which is more equitable. So I've realized that my even though I want to keep my prices, and this is something that we've not spoken about, but prices are something that is, um, this wellness space is becoming more and more exclusive, I think, instead of inclusive. And we can talk about pricing some other time. So I am trying and really leaning into the body and the wisdom of my body to create a space where it can be an inclusive space for us to come and work on these emotional wounds so that we can heal together in a community. So I'm building that. So it will be like a group program or just a space for us to come together to heal together, because people heal you. That is the space I'm creating and I'm very excited about. But of course, my one-to-one program is always there. So I love personalized care, because I think and I know that you are an individual with individual needs. So that is always there for me. So yeah, the thing that I'm excited about is just keep doing this work and helping people quit people pleasing one person at a time. So thank you again for letting me letting me be part of your wonderful, wonderful, wonderful podcast. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Ishani, for being here, for agreeing to be a guest, to speak upon your expertise and insights and your guidance and your care and your equal passion of equity, and what that means and how we all keep taking our steps forward. All right. That is all. Thank you. All the links will be in the show notes, and hope to keep in touch.